The market chopped lower in a corrective pullback. Is that just what the bulls ordered? This is Invest with Jacob. Okay guys, so in yesterday's video we talked about the fact that we should be looking for a wave 2 pullback, and it looks like the market started to give us that yesterday. We saw a choppy move lower, and the wave does look corrective, which is another feather in the bull's cap. For those of you that don't know, corrective waves generally don't have the structure needed to go down and break a low. So this is exactly what the bulls would expect. Now the question is, where should it hold and what should we expect? I'll get into all that in just one second. But first, if you're new here, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Jacob Gabbard, and this is Invest with Jacob, where we use Elliott Wave Theory to break down the SP 500 and the Nasdaq. I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can get our daily S&P updates, our trade setups, and our buy alerts. All right, guys, as always, I go over some trading room stuff. We had a great day today, and you can see here, guys are loving PT's room. If you're not in there, you're really missing out. The guy's an amazing teacher. He has 30 plus years of experience. He can initiate trades. He knows when the market's going to reverse. He just does an amazing job. So if you want to know more about that, stay tuned to later in the video. But for now, let's jump into the chart and take a look. Okay, guys, so here we are on the 1-hour futures chart for the S&P 500. And before we dig into actually where we're at, I did want to show you a couple examples of corrective waves so you can see what I'm talking about when I say that. Corrective waves are 3-wave structures in general. They have many other shapes, but the most basic and common shape is 3 waves. And you can see here from this 1 to this 2, okay, so waves 2 and waves 4 in impulsive structures are corrective. So you can see this wave 1 to wave 2 here is very overlapping, very choppy, and if you dig in, you can see that there's an A, B, C structure to it. There's a 1 wave up, a wave down that doesn't break this low, and then a wave higher. So it's 3 waves. Okay, and it's very overlapping and non-committal. An impulsive wave, on the other hand, which follows this, you can see moves very strongly to the downside. In this case, it can move to the upside as well, but it moves very strongly in the direction it's headed, and it has commitment, and there's no overlap and chop, and it's very clear what's going on here. And these are the type of structures you want to see when you're going down to break a low or up to break a high or trying to start a rally or a downtrend. You want to see impulsive structures. So when I say a corrective wave off of a high, that means that it's very unlikely we're going to go down and break a low because it's this kind of structure here. Another type here, you can see you get an A, kind of a B wave triangle here, and then a C up for wave 4 down here. That's another type. So it doesn't have to be all overlapping, but what you're going to want to see is 3 clear waves instead of 5. And you're going to want to see some overlap usually in the B wave when that happens, okay? So those are corrective waves, and that's what we're seeing. If we scroll down here to where we're at, okay, off of our last high, which is right here, you can see we spike down, come back up, almost take out the high, then chop here, then come back down, then come back up, almost take out the high. So lots of overlap and chop in here. Very corrective structure and does not lend itself to going down to take out the lows. So this is very good for the bulls. This is what you would expect in a wave 2. We have an A in place. We think we have a B in place, and we look for C down into the blue box. However, we know that these rallies off of diagonals, one, can be very strong and not give us very much in the way of pullbacks. And we also know that when we hit a major bottom, there's so much buying pressure that we may not get a full pullback into this blue box. So let's talk a little bit about where we're at. It's going to be very similar to yesterday's video in that regard. We believe we've topped in wave 1 here, okay, and that would be wave 1 of wave 1. So this is not the overall wave 1. It would be building a 5-wave structure that would build wave 1 like this one did. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which completes this wave 1, and then you would have 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 up, which would complete the primary count wave 1 at that point, up around 4,200. So we have 5 up, we think, to complete this one. We have a corrective start to a pullback, which is very good, and what we'd like to see is we'd like to see it hit this blue box, which comes in at the 0.5 to 0.764, which is 36.95 down to 36.29. Hold this blue box and then come out back up and take out this high, okay, on its way up in wave 3, and wave 3 would head towards the 4,000 level. So of course it's not going to head in a B line for that 4,000 level. It'll have 5 waves in that structure, but that would be our expectation. If we pull back into this blue box, is for our next move to come back up, take out this high, take out the pivot, and start that wave 3 higher. The pivot right now I have on here at 38.19 to 38.55. That is just a placeholder until we find out exactly where this wave 2 bottoms, because the pivot is the 618 and 764 extension of waves 1, so up here this big 1 and 2. So from the bottom, you would take your trend base fib extension tool, click down here at the bottom, click at the top of wave 1, and click at the bottom of wave 2, and it will give you these extensions. And a push over this 764 tells us that we've broken the pivot to the high side, and that it looks like we're following through in the movement upwards. So as I said, pretty basic, pretty clear path and parameters. We're looking for a pullback that holds support, and then a move higher that breaks the pivot, and it needs to be in a 5-wave structure. So that is what we're looking for the bulls. For the bears, this red count, I'm thinking, is starting to become much less likely because of the corrective pullback we got today. In fact, I would think that it's more likely that this was the end of a big A wave. Then we would get a B wave up to 4,200 plus. Then we'd get a C wave down, and depending on where that B wave tops, we would give projections, but that would be a haymaker to the market. That would be a pretty nasty move down at that point. So I think that this is starting to become closer to at least what we call a local bottom, meaning that it's going to give us a pretty big rally before we see the next low, maybe not to all-time highs though. So the two paths that we're following to the upside are this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where we hold support and come back and take out the pivot and follow through with a 5-wave structure. Okay, if they fail and only give us a 3-wave structure and then pull back and invalidate, we would look for a C wave up then to the 4,200 plus area, and then we look for a C wave to follow that down, okay, depending on where we top into the 2000s area. So those are the up paths, and then the immediate down path, as I said, I'm starting to think it's a lot less likely based on what we got off of this high. This 4 to this wave 5, they would come down and break support, but in my opinion, unless they're going to make this a diagonal, they need to come up and make a new high to do that, then come back and break support to take us down to this new low. So I think that that is much less likely at this time. All right, over on the Nasdaq, you're not going to be shocked to find out that the paths are very similar, and we are looking at the same thing. So a very choppy corrective path off of the top. We've got an A and a B. We're looking for a C down into that blue box to hold support. And then we would look for a rally up out of that blue box to take out the 11,733 to 11,855 pivot. Again, these are placeholders until this wave 2 is established because we don't know exactly where they're going to be. But anyway, the theme remains the same. Pull back into support, break back up over the pivot, okay, complete this 5-wave structure, and we are looking at a strong bottom being in that could take us to new all-time highs. Give us a 3-wave structure up and fail, then we would look for a B wave down and a C wave up from there, okay? And then after that, we would look for another C wave down that would take us down into the 9,000 region. Guys, if you like the information that I put out in these videos and you want real-time market updates from me, you need to check out investwithjacob.com. There's a link down in the description. Go ahead and click that link. It will take you right over to the website. Once you're there, check out our membership plans area. We have 2 incredible plans, and they both come with a 7-day free trial. The reason is I want you to get in there and make sure you love it. I want you to become part of our trading team, and I want to make sure it's for you before you ever spend a penny. Okay? You can cancel at any time. In our first room, the Invest with Jacob room, you get all of my real-time market updates, all of my buy and sell alerts, as well as all of your Elliott Wave questions answered. We trade the SPY and the QQQ, and we swing trade, which means our trades can last anywhere from a few days to a few months, so we don't trade quite as often as a day trading room does. However, if you are looking for day trading as well as individual stocks, you need to check out PT's Throne Room. In there, you get everything you get in the Invest with Jacob room, as well as day trading, individual stocks, and PT's reduced risk binary method that absolutely crushes the market. It's a very unique trading style. He gets you in very cheap and gets you big multiples on your money, and it's how he structures the trade that's so unique. It's something you really have to see to understand, and that's another reason we give you that 7-day free trial, to make sure it's for you before you spend your money. He also started a challenge account where he put $4,000 into a small account, trading mini ES futures and using disciplined trading methods, averaging 3 to 4% gains per week, showing you how to build a small account into a large retirement or savings account. Guys, we'd love to have you in here so we can all make money together. All right, key takeaways for today. Pretty simple. The bulls need to hold the support level and then shoot higher. Please remember that when we get these strong rallies off of these lows, we often get very shallow pullbacks. So it's possible we don't get all the way down to the blue box and then go higher if they're going to take it higher, if that's the way we're going to go. If they only give us 3 up, then we would look for a B wave pullback and then C higher to 4,200 plus. And then after that, a C wave down that will be very nasty for the market. Over on the Nasdaq, very similar. We're looking for a pullback into our support box, then a move higher in wave 3 that takes out this high and moves through the pivot. If we can get that, we have a very bullish start on our hands. Otherwise, we would look for that ABC we talked about, or potentially the move directly down in 5. But again, I think that is much less likely at this time. Guys, it's the weekend. Grab yourself a drink, have some fun, visit your family, and I'll talk to you next week.